Everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering 2nd Esdras chapters 9 through 12.
And we got new books.
We do have new books, so of course, gotta start off the show by just giving a big thank you to Landon.
Yeah, Landon's like single-handedly filling this table. Well, not really. There have been a couple other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he has bought us a lot of books.
Yes, he has. Landon is just awesome. Let's show off some of this stuff. So he, along with the stuff that we will show you today, he also got us the Hermenia commentary on Isaiah. Sorry, not on Isaiah, on Hosea.
Very close.
Yeah, I was almost there. On Hosea, and he also got us a commentary on Amos, Jonah, and I think another book. It's on the table in the other room.
It's one of the other books.
It's one of the other prophets. Yeah. And let's show off some of this stuff. So
we got a Greek Septuagint.
Yes, and this is the one with keep forgetting this thing is completely broken. This is the one with English as well. Yeah. He did also get us another Greek Septuagint. I'm probably going to use that one for practice, though, like to practice my Greek at home, and we'll keep this one here. So we have, this is just awesome. Like you have, it's in 2 languages, which is great. We can actually compare it to the Greek versions of these things. Now, of course, that is not the original language for the Old Testament, but it is still helpful to see some sort of textual tradition.
Yeah, and there's like some textual notes in there that can tell us what the translator was thinking with, their phraseology.
Yeah, and that is going to be incredibly helpful throughout this, I think. We also have in 2 volumes, the Old Testament pseudepigrapha. So, volume 1, here it is. This is there's red and blue, basically. They're color-coded.
Luckily, there's no green.
Yeah, no green. We don't want any of the green ones.
You would just be able to see through it.
Yeah, right. So this volume has quite a lot of stuff here. So there's the Apocalypse of Abraham, the Apocalypse of Adam, the Testament of Adam, 2nd and 3rd Baruch. 4th Baruch is in the other one.
But 1st Baruch isn't in either.
No, it is not. Man. The Apocalypse of Elijah. We have all Enochian books in here. There's quite a lot. The Treatise of Shem, the Sibylline Oracles, Testament of Solomon, Apocalypse of Zephaniah, lots of really great stuff in here. And in the other one, I can just tell you what's in the other one as well. Like Ladder of Jacob, Prayer of Jacob. That one has Jubilees and 3rd and 4th Maccabees. The Martyrdom and Ascension of Isaiah. That one's pretty important, I think. It also has Ahikar. We referenced that one quite a lot.
Ahikar. We'll go through that eventually.
Yeah, we should. That's a really, really good idea.
Now, does this also have the additions to Daniel in it?
It might. It does have the Apocalypse of Daniel. I don't think it would have the additions alone.
If it doesn't say Bel and the Dragon.
Yeah, it does not.
But doesn't it have the Prayer of Manasseh?
It might.
Which is also an addition to Daniel.
We have, this has a lot in it. I don't see the Prayer of Manasseh in here.
I saw.
There is a lot.
There's a lot. There's so much.
Yeah.
Enough to give us material to give to you for quite some time.
Yeah, so we have those volumes. We have the Greek versions. We also have the Oxford Annotated Apocrypha, and this is from Bruce Metzger, I think. And Bruce Metzger was a really prominent textual critic. He was actually Bart Ehrman's teacher, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. So this one's signed, apparently, too.
By Bruce Metzger? or by some rando who
I don't know.
used to own the book.
It might be by a
let me
rando.
see. Let me
But
see.
it looks like it was signed in 1967.
I don't think that says Bruce Metzger.
I also don't think it says Bruce Metzger or Metzger. Or it might say Metzger. I don't know.
No, it says like
No,
wonderful.
It's not.
I think it says wonderful.
Oh my god. You know how signing things is.
Yeah. Look at that, guys.
It's not
If you want
always
to
in the...
steal someone's signature,
Don't do it. It's bad.
it's bad, but you probably can't actually from this. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. There's
That's
stuff
how you're
in there.
broadcasting this? Thanks, Ruben.
Yeah, thanks for the ban.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this has much of the stuff we already read. This one has Baruch in it, so that's great. It does have the additions to Daniel. It has Tobit, Judith, additions to Esther.
Which also are in the Septuagint.
Let's see what else we have here. First and second Maccabees, prayer of Azariah, and the song of the three young men. Letter of Jeremiah. Yeah, a good amount of the stuff we have already covered in this one, but you know what? It's nice to have another one.
And there's a little more commentary in there too.
Yeah, there is. Like every section starts off with some commentary, I believe,
Which is great.
I think it does, unless it just goes into it right away. Yeah, there's like a very little like intro for it.
Like the ESV.
Yeah, a lot like that. And then it has textual notes, and similar to Altar, it has like occasional commentary.
Cool. And we also have today on the show the Anchor Bible, Jacob M. Myers' translation and commentary on 1st and 2nd Esdras.
We have Erdman's commentary on the Bible. We have, of course, I don't think those are going to matter, but I already mentioned the Old Testament pseudepigrapha from James Charlesworth, and the Oxford Annotated Apocrypha
Which
from
is
Bruce Metzger.
surely going to be more useful than the Oxford Companion to the
Let's
Bible.
hope.
Yeah, let's hope. Yeah, we have a lot of resources now, and if we need, once we get to Sunday, we can actually start referencing the Greek.
Yeah, we can. Now, is there anything that you want to say about chapter 9 before I start it?
The only thing I have to say is we're in for some cool visions later.
Okay. Well, we are not quite at the end of the book, but I think...
Right. So I think we have these 4 chapters, and then the next 4 should do it.
Yeah. So next week we'll be finishing 2nd Esdras.
Yeah.
But then without further ado, I'll get us into chapter 9. He answered me as follows. So if you recall, at the end of chapter 8, Ezra was like, you showed me all these signs. Now tell me about when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So chapter 9 starts with, he answered me as follows. Note that carefully for yourself. When you observe that a certain part of the predicted signs have occurred, then you will know that it is indeed the time when the Most High is about to judge the world he has made. So when there will appear in the world, we have a short little poem of things here.
Yeah, and this is imagery that you're going to find all throughout apocalyptic literature.
Mm-hmm. Tremors in places. Happens all the time.
Earthquakes.
Yep. Disorder of peoples. Happens all the time. Intrigues of nations. What do they mean by intrigues?
I'm not sure. So, yeah, it says intrigues of nations in here as well.
So let's see. This is in verse 3.
Yeah, it says intrigues of nations in every translation.
Pull out a Bible.
Oh, you want me to pull out a Bible?
Yeah.
Dude, we don't have any Bibles on this show. All right, where am I going?
Check Matthew 20:16 and 22:14.
Oh, okay, so I'm guessing this is like when he's talking about signs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing this is, I don't know if this is going to be a repetition of it, but I know there's a lot there. Like earthquakes is one of the things that Jesus mentions for sure. You said Matthew 22 what?
Matthew, well, there's two of them. There's Matthew 20:16.
Okay. So Matthew 20:16 is all right. I don't know if this is okay. So the first one is, so the last will be first and the first last. That's Alpha and Omega stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's Matthew 20:16
And 22:14.
and 22:14. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. 22:14 is, yeah, for many are called, but few are chosen.
Oh, well, that doesn't seem too related to what.
Said Matthew, right?
Yeah. It says Matthew.
All right.
If Matt is short for Matthew.
Yeah, should be.
I would imagine. Okay, well, let's continue.
Weird.
Fickleness of leaders happens all the time. Confusion of rulers happens all the time. So he named off 5 things here to look out for signs of when the end times are coming. And they're all things that are constantly happening all the time anyway. So,
As is tradition.
yeah, this is what you have to look out for. When this stuff happens, you know that the world's going to end. Apparently. Then you will realize that these are the things about which the Most High has spoken from the very beginning. For just as everything that has taken place in the world from beginning to end, as well as the end itself, has been made known, so also have the times of the Most High. The beginnings have been attested by portents and powers, the end by deeds and signs. Now, everyone who will be saved, who is able to escape by virtue of his works or the faith in which he trusted, he will survive the above noted perils and enjoy my salvation in my land and within the territory I have set apart for myself from eternity.
So apparently the things that were listed off are just known as the Messianic Woes. And that is why I think it's many of those. I don't know if it's all of them because I don't remember the exact verse. But when Jesus is talking about like all like the signs of the end, I think many of these there are a lot of commonalities between these. Like earthquakes is 100% one of them.
Oh, you know what? I was in the commentary for chapter 8 and I referenced Matthew there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, well, it was like a really tiny thing that said 8.
Okay. No wonder that was confusing.
Yes. So there are a bunch of references for all of the woes there.
I'm sure.
The fickleness of leaders in Ethiopic is the leaders will fight among themselves. Apparently, there's a reference to Ezekiel.
So anything on the intrigues of nations? That was the one that we were...
Intrigues of nations. Matthew 24:7, Ezekiel 38:10, 1QM 13:4, 1QH 4:12.
So it's Matthew all the time?
Well, no. Yes, every reference ever is Matthew.
No, Matthew's 24/7.
So yeah, Matthew 24:7. You said, or
yes.
Okay. Let's see. I am on the right page here. Yeah, for nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, there will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are but the beginning of the birth pains. Yeah, and then continues on to, yeah, okay, so then they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death, and you'll be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Yeah, so that's the classic Messianic woes here.
Yes. Now,
and while they are not exactly the same, they are definitely in the same vein, I would say.
So here in verse 7, they say that people are able to escape by virtue of his works or the faith in which he trusted.
Yes.
Which is very different than many of the modern churches, which choose one or the other.
Yeah, for a long time it's been that way, where it's like, okay, so is it... well, I mean, I would say that some of them do accept both faith and works. But although it should be important to note here that works doesn't necessarily mean like... It's not as simple as like good deeds. It would be like works of the law. Like how closely are you following the law? God's law, that is.
But here it doesn't say and, it says or. So either way.
Yeah. So I guess everyone's fine there.
So if we look at James 2:14, it says, Second Esdras proclaims the doctrine of faith and works, as does James. Whereas Second Baruch promulgates the idea of salvation by the law. Paul goes in the direction of sola fide in Romans 3:27 and Galatians 5:4-6, which was followed by the Mandaeans. Everyone who stands genuinely and reliably in the first faith receives endurance for eternity. So we have differing accounts within the Bible for this, right?
Yeah, for salvation in effect.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
that must be inconvenient.
Yeah, I'm sure that's has played a big role in why people have been arguing about it for so damn long.
Yeah. Well, I guess Second Esdras is like, well, it's one or the other.
Yeah, one or the other.
Yeah. He will survive the above noted perils and enjoy my salvation in my land and within the territory I've set apart for myself from eternity. Then those who now have ignored my ways will marvel, and those who have contemptuously rejected them will linger in torment. Those who did not appreciate me while alive, though they received my blessings, and those who despised my law when they were still free to do so, and while the opportunity for repentance was yet open to them, nevertheless failed to recognize it, even spurned it, they will have to acknowledge it by the torment after death. Therefore, you must no longer be so inquisitive as to how the wicked will be afflicted, but rather inquire how the just will be saved, to whom the age belongs, for whose sake it was created and when.
So once again, it seems that God has brilliantly dodged a question here, because when he was asking about but thou hast not shown me when thou wilt do them. So he's asking about time periods, and God's all like, hey, there are ways to save people, and then the other people are gonna be punished. But you shouldn't ask about that.
Also, here's a stupid thing.
He didn't answer the question that Ezra had asked. He asked the question that he wanted Ezra to ask.
Right. All-knowing, supposedly all-seeing being, supposedly, or at least mostly omnipresent being. Maybe not clouds and chariots and stuff.
Knows some things.
Yeah, something. He knows a lot of things, but
he knows what he's gonna do later.
Yeah, maybe he knows enough to, or he's outside of time, right, or whatever. He's a timeless being, I guess.
Well, that wasn't established.
We've never.
That was not established.
Yeah,
No.
that's never been established
You're
in
right.
the Bible.
Yeah. Well, then I guess he's just some guy who's been around long enough that he doesn't know how long things are anymore.
Well, it was established that he was one among multiple in Genesis, right? Because let us create him in our image.
Yeah, there is
Right.
that curiosity.
Right. And so presumably along with wisdom, who was present at that point in time, who was female, they were present at the beginning. It doesn't say anything about what happens before the beginning.
Right.
Right. So it might be at the beginning, Yahweh and a bunch of other gods came into existence spontaneously, right?
Like in the Greek myths.
Yeah. Could be any number of things, right? So
Yeah, we do not have the direct. We can't really say much about that, at least biblically speaking.
It's unfortunately there's not a chapter where it's like, and lo, Yahweh did hatch from an egg.
That would be good, but
That he made himself.
that would also mean that would I have been plagiarizing when I was writing?
Oh, the Book of the Great Caca? Yeah, you might have been.
But luckily, that's not the timeline that we live in. So,
Wow.
How do you know? Were you there at the beginning?
No, I'm saying that the Bible doesn't say that Yahweh hatched from an egg. That's the timeline that we're not living in.
See,
at least for now,
the oldest manuscripts.
right?
The ones that don't survive anymore.
Right, yeah, those are the ones that say that. Yep.
You'll have to take that on faith.
Okay.
Because those are long gone.
That is an option.
So let's continue here. So I responded as follows. I said before, say now, and will say hereafter, more numerous are the lost than the saved, as the tide is greater than a drop. He replied to me as follows, as the field, so the seed, as the flowers, so the colors, as the workman, so the product, as the farmer, so the harvest. Well, if God is presenting himself as the workman and human beings as the product, and it's as the workman, so the product, that would at least imply that God isn't the most just possible person, right? I mean, if the amount of lost people are like a tide compared to the amount of saved people who are like a drop, then if the workman is like as the workman, so the product.
Yeah,
then
the guy puts in, a good amount of work, and his result is almost nothing.
So Ezra repeats his concern with the ratio between the lost and the saved. The angel tries again to explain to Ezra that God's plan is to plant a wondrous garden of different flowers, but when the creative work was progressing, human choice began to corrupt the project. The image of what could be saved, one grape out of a cluster or one tree out of a large forest. Okay, so yeah, I guess for the most part, the people have just they've royally messed up. So now only a small part of it can be saved.
So it's your fault.
Even though he makes the rules, so whatever.
Only you could have prevented the tide of people going to Gehenna.
He could have, but he chose to do it this way because that was his plan. For whatever reason.
He had plans within plans, and so when that first plan with the humans was like, okay, that was the plan they chose, cool, so I have a plan for that. You know what I mean? It's like 20 contingencies.
I don't think there's any contingencies.
Yeah, sometimes there aren't any.
Yeah, this is just like a very straightforward plan that it doesn't...
Yeah, sometimes you can't save everybody. What you gonna do?
It doesn't seem like he's thought through it very well either, because he's just like... Yeah, no, don't ask that question. Ask this question instead,
yeah,
right?
that is true. He is question dodging a lot, but it does continue here, so maybe we get some answers.
Right. Wow. As the farmer, so the harvest. For in primordial time, when I was preparing for those who now are, before the world was made for those who inhabit it, no one opposed me. Then, because none existed to do so. Then why did you use plural nouns or pronouns when referring to yourself at that time? And also,
they couldn't oppose him.
What about when wisdom was there?
They couldn't oppose him.
But it says
couldn't oppose him.
None existed to do so. That's what it says, but that goes against the biblical account.
Oh wow!
No one existed to oppose.
Yeah.
But wisdom couldn't oppose. So still no one existed
Then
to
what
oppose.
was the point of having wisdom there?
Well, it certainly wasn't to oppose, because wisdom was held in pretty high regard.
I guess. But now those created in this world, though provided with an unfailing table and luxuriant pasture, have become disreputable in their conduct. Then I looked at my world, and it was decadent, and at my land, and it was imperiled because of the plots that had come into it. Although I was aware of it, I spared them with great difficulty and saved for myself one grape out of a bunch and a shoot out from the great forest. What is that about?
No, that's like the saving one from the many.
Yeah, but it sounds like a reference to something. I'm not sure why.
Well, the shoot.
Right, we have
was
had
used a lot.
references to stuff like this before
Like
somewhere.
the shoot of David, or no, sorry, it was the shoot of someone else, but it was it would be a reference to that line. And I don't know if this one directly, but it's the same imagery is related.
It's just a piece of plant that's used to, grow another version of it. Like if you cut off a shoot from the plant, which is a healthy part of the plant that's got both, the bottom and top of it,
Yeah,
roots and whatever, you can just move it to some other place to grow it. He
I
took
was
the
right. I was
healthiest
right.
thing.
shoot of Jesse. Sorry, that was it.
I was right. Pseudo-Philo 28:4. In fact, verses 18 through 22 are very close to Pseudo-Philo 28:4.
We didn't even read pseudo-Philo.
No, but I was able to spot that it was a reference to something.
You did it.
Now, therefore, let the multitude that was born in vain perish, but let my grape and my shoot, which I have perfected with much effort, be preserved. Now then, if you will wait for another 7 days without fasting in them, but go into a field of flowers where no house has been built, and eat only of the flowers of the field, and taste no meat, and sip no wine. Do they mean literal flowers here? In Ethiopic it says fruit
So
instead of flowers.
okay, well apparently this one
Give you some
Also
slack.
says
Fruit
flowers.
Can make flowers. Or flowers can make fruit. Sorry.
the Ethiopic would also be later.
You're right. They probably looked at that and was like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, probably. Although there was some commentary on this.
Well, I'm finishing up this verse. And taste no meat and sip no wine, but only flowers, and pray to the Most High without ceasing. Then I will come and speak with you.
Yeah, so the week-long vegetarian diet of Ezra parallels the eating habits of Adam and Eve and their descendants before the flood. It is also reminiscent of Moses' 40-day fast during the revelation on Sinai, but Ezra's regime here seems halfway between the total fast before before his previous visions and his lack of a fast in his later ones.
So there's some commentary on this eating only of the flowers of the field. Interpretation is somewhat uncertain because of Ethiopic rendering. Flowers figured extensively in ancient thought. Suns were compared to flowers, Sirach 39:13, as was Simon, the son of Onias, in Sirach 58. According to 3rd Maccabees 7:16, the saved wore crowns of flowers. Judas was said to have eaten only what grew wild, 2nd Maccabees 5:27. That's Judas Maccabeus.
Not the other one.
Not the other one. Now, whether flowers were consumed directly is not clear, though Herodotus speaks of lotus bread made and eaten by the Egyptians and their consumption of the lotus root. They also ate the seeds of a certain species of lily, about the size of an olive stone, and the lower part of the papyrus stems. The reference here may be figurative, the eating only of what was regarded as most precious and beautiful so as to reflect its character. See the fare of Daniel and his companions in Daniel 1:12-16, and Lives of the Prophets on Daniel 16.
Well, it seems like what they're really going for is like a less decadent kind of approach, because one of the things that God was complaining about was that the world was too decadent. There was way too much stuff going on there. So he tries to, it was maybe too posh. So God was I think God's trying to bring it down a notch, where, just eat what you have around, man. Like just go get some berries or some shit. So probably not flowers exclusively, but like if you're eating of the flowers, I know that a lot of trees that have flowers also have fruits on them. So maybe by like of the flowers, it just means like stuff in the midst of the flowers. I don't know.
So now we're getting into a new section. We're going to be talking about the fourth vision. And the beginning here as part of the framework of the book, and obviously provides the setting for the conversations and the experiences of a fourth vision, carrying out the suggestion of the interpreting angel. The seer withdraws into the field, Ardot, where he spends 7 days, presumably in meditation. But in the end, his mind returns to the theme that troubled him before. So, if Yahweh would have just provided adequate answers for the questions that he was asked, then maybe this wouldn't be the case. I then proceeded, I'm on verse 26, by the way. I then proceeded into the field as he commanded me. The field is called Ardot, where I sat among the flowers and ate of the wild plants of the land. Their fare satisfied me. After 7 days, while I lay on the grass, I experienced the same mental anguish as before. Then my mouth was opened, and I commenced to speak before the Most High as follows.
So for Ardot,
yes, there are a bunch of ones. So Aramaic has Arda C. That's one of the things. Has Ardas. M has Ardaf.
So this was certainly, I think it was it may have been Babylonian, or I think it was probably older than that. Primarily because maybe it was even Sumerian. So when I was doing my research for the Lilith video, one of the references, I don't remember if it was a title or if it was something of that nature, and I forget if I put it in the video, but it was Ardot Lily. So I can't remember off the top of my head if I went too in depth into that one.
Well, there's a little bit here that talks about it. That Ardot is obscure. The Armenian Ardab is said to be a grain measure. It could be a place name of a small locality near Babylon. See the river Wadi Kabar in Ezekiel 1:1, which, if you're not watching our Ezekiel coverage, that's good shit.
Yeah, breaking news on Ezekiel every single week.
Yeah. Where the prophet had his visions. Or the river of Ahava in Ezra 8:15. It does occur. Yes, it does occur in the Tutmos III list of cities destroyed during his fifth campaign to Palestine. It is described as a place of grain and pleasant trees. It is mentioned a number of times in the Amarna letters, where it is located in the vicinity of Tripoli or Byblos.
Yeah, so Amarna letters, for those that don't know, was a correspondence between Egypt and Canaan when Canaan was a vassal state.
Yes. It's also mentioned in letter number 20, reverse line 5 in Ugaritica 5, Mission de Ras Shamra 16.
Yeah, Rasharma is Ugarit.
Perhaps there is some eschatological significance in the term, which escapes us at the present. Syriac was doubtless influenced by Old Testament passages such as 2 Kings 18:34. For various theories about location and significance, see some other books. But that is the essence. Ardat is a place somewhere. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Nice.
Yep. Now we're in another subsection. O Lord, you have indeed revealed yourself to us through our fathers in the desert, when they left Egypt and entered the trackless and unfruitful desert. You said, O Israel, listen to me, O seed of Jacob, give attention to my words. Now I am sowing in you my law.
Oh, man. My translation has behold.
Behold! Now I am sowing in you my law, and it will produce fruit in you, and you will be eternally glorified by it. However, our fathers, who received the law, did not observe it, but disregarded its directives. Nevertheless, the fruit of the law was not destroyed. It could not be destroyed because it was yours, but those who received it were destroyed because they did not observe the seed that was sown in them. Now, it is generally true that when the soil receives seed, or the sea a ship, or any bowl, food or drink, and that what was sown or what was launched or what was placed in them is lost, they are lost while in fact their containers remain. However, with us it has not been so. We who received the law will be lost because we have sinned together with our heart which received it. For the law is not lost, but endures in its majesty.
Yeah, so contrasting the law with Israel, of course, because in the sad state of affairs, they became lost. So now God has to get kind of crazy, as was described before earlier in the chapter.
And as tradition.
As is tradition.
Yes, that is what it is. So we're in this other subsection now. I want to check and see if there's any commentary in addition to what we said already. So why don't you read something while I read this?
Yeah, I don't really have much on that. It just mentions that it's contrasted with...
Oh my God, this guy says advocatus diaboli instead of devil's advocate.
Wow. Okay.
Amazing.
Why?
I don't know. He says Ezra becomes the advocatus diaboli.
You can just say devil's advocate, but okay. Gotta say it in Latin, I guess.
Yeah, this is why I find some of these authors like snooty and pretentious and difficult to read because of their needless use of things like this.
Yeah.
That's why God only accepts a few people, is because of how snooty and pretentious most of them are.
Yeah, there it is. There's shoot. That's the grape right there. That's the good one.
Yep. Okay, so I guess there's no real commentary on... we're just getting a repetition of things. While I was saying these things to myself, I looked up and saw a woman on my right who was wailing and crying loudly. She was deeply grieved in spirit. Her clothes were torn and dust was upon her head. So this is a mourning image.
Yes, it is.
Then I dismissed the thoughts that were occupying me, turned toward her and said to her, "Why are you weeping? Why are you grieved in spirit?" She said to me, "My lord, allow me to bewail myself and continue my lamentation, because I am very bitter in spirit and deeply depressed." Can you imagine?
I'm like, did that just happen?
Let's imagine this conversation IRL.
Lawrence, why are you weeping?
Just let me weep because I am bitterly depressed and I want to continue lamenting.
You had to call me my lord.
Oh, yeah, my lord. So, yeah, Ezra sees a woman, and she is described in a whole bunch of different ways of traditional mourning. Ezra begins to inquire of her the reason for her mourning. His reaction to her continues the transformation of Ezra, the change that marks a turning point in the book. Ezra begins to act differently from the manner in which he had behaved thus far, taking on the role of the instructor after he had been the instructed one for all the preceding chapters. Okay, so it looks like we are going to get the story.
So, for the dust upon her head, this is a sign of misfortune.
Yeah.
On the mourning woman, also see Anat's lamentation for the death of Baal in a very different context, but there may be some parallel here.
You know what I just remembered?
No.
Oh, well, I'll tell you. I forgot to eat today.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't
I
eaten
didn't eat
anything
either.
today.
Damn. After this, I'm going to get a hot dog.
Wow. You do that in like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You'll just be looking forward to that the entire time. Just one hot dog.
Already looking forward to it. I'll probably get 2.
Wow.
Yeah. They got the new hot dog place that opened up nearby.
Oh, yeah, that one that's by Otto's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. They have a really good Chipotle.
They sell good
Hot dog?
baklava.
Dan just threw it out. He hated it so much.
Really?
When he bought it. Apparently. Yeah.
Huh. I don't know. I enjoyed it.
I thought the fries were good.
The fries are really good. Yeah, the
I don't
the
know.
fries are
Good.
really good.
The baklava's good. Get the baklava.
I didn't have any other baklava.
It's from Jordan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyways, let's continue in here instead of talking about baklava from Jordan and hot dogs. Okay.
Two things that always go together.
Yeah. Yeah, it really surprised me that they're selling baklava from Jordan in their hot dog store.
Yeah.
Anyways, she's grieving because, my lord, allow me to bewail myself and continue my lamentation.
Right.
I replied to her, what has befallen you? Tell me!
Oh my God.
There's an exclamation point.
Wow, there's not in mine. That really changes the tone.
Yeah. She said to me, I, your servant, was barren and bore no child, though I was married for 30 years. I prayed to the Most High night and day, every hour and every day for 30 years. Then after 30 years, God heard me, your handmaid, took note of my disgrace, gave heed to my distress, and gave me a son.
Yeah, so this is sounding a lot like some of the women in the Torah, right?
It sounds like Sarah.
Yeah. Sarah and Hannah apparently as well. Also, yeah, in okay, so we haven't actually gotten quite there yet, but yeah, so the woman's story of her marriage, and actually, you know what? Finish the
verse.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna read. I'm gonna start my verse or my chapter, and then read this commentary because it kind of goes over both of them.
Well, there's only a couple of verses left in the chapter, so let me finish here. I, my husband, and all my neighbors rejoiced greatly over him and gave homage to the Almighty. I nurtured him with great pains. After he was grown up, I spared no efforts to take a wife for him and made a marriage feast for him. And
yeah, that's a classic, customary. Oh, okay. So actually, no, this isn't actually. This is the mother speaking.
Yes.
About the son.
Now she's very sad.
And
I think
sorry.
I think we can see where this is going.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oof. How unfortunate for her.
But it's interesting that this is the mother talking, though, because it was usually a father who would arrange the weddings, right?
Sure.
Yeah, it says the woman's misfortune, the interruption of the seer's meditation by the vision of the woman marks the inception of a new element in the ongoing story of our book. as we learn later on. His attention was attracted by a distraught woman lamenting bitterly and deeply grieved in spirit. Which is not really like things that have happened before.
Yeah, and we learn later that, of course, the woman is Zion.
Oh, well.
Spoiler alert. If you haven't read it in, I don't know, thousands of years.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
Read that.
Hey, guess what?
What?
Jesus dies in the Bible.
Oh, my God.
That's okay.
Man, we didn't even get there yet.
He comes back. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, my God.
Ah,
No,
jeez.
you keep dropping more spoilers here.
Yeah, but he was really worried about that one.
I was really sad. I was like, oh, my God, this whole time we've been gearing up for the Jesus thing, but then I find out that he just dies at the end.
Yeah.
Man, horrible.
John dies at the end.
Well, John does something at the end, that's for sure.
Good movie, by the way. John dies at the end.
Never even heard of it.
Oh, you should see it.
I'll make sure to do that. Well,
it's not about John.
Okay.
I think I've seen that. I don't remember what
You
it's about at all.
Probably have.
So I assume you would like some of these.
Yeah,
right?
I assume you don't need this.
No, I don't, because you know what? We have some stuff now, and we probably don't even need this one. This is probably okay here. I'll keep this here just in case there's some textual commentary that we need to hit on, but you can take that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna hop to the restroom real quick.
All right. Well, in that case,
why don't you
I'll get started.
Why don't you tell them about this chapter that they're about to read?
I will do that.
Also, like, sub, share, all the fun stuff.
Yeah, all that good stuff
Thank
that
you.
really helps us out quite a lot, actually. So, continuing on here. So this is still the woman's story. But it happened that when my son entered his wedding chamber, he fell down and died.
Dun, 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 dun. Maybe it's a demon. That's what always happens.
Yeah, there was that time it was a demon. In fact,
Specifically the wedding chamber,
yeah,
right?
and it was like every husband that the woman had, it was in Tobit. And like every husband that woman had, just kept dying.
Until he brought fish guts.
Yeah, it's fucking brilliant. Yeah, then we all put out the lamps, and all my neighbors attempted to console me, and I remained quiet until evening of the second day. So yeah, waiting to start lamenting, I suppose. But yeah, that sucks, you know. But of course, if we're talking about Jerusalem and the people of Jerusalem, makes perfect sense here. So there was a section I want to go over. Actually, I'll do it in just a little bit here after I finish the beginning of this. But when they all had stopped consoling me that I might be quiet, I got up in the night and fled, and came to this field, as you see. And now I intend not to return to the city, but to stay here. And I will neither eat nor drink, but yeah, I will neither eat nor drink, but without ceasing mourn and fast until I die. So she's just gonna keep crying and then die, which is, you know, that sounds like something I want to do sometimes.
And the style at the time.
Yes. So of course we already talked about the connections to Sarah and Hannah for not being able to conceive, and then the connection in Tobit with the demon.
Now, what verse are you on here?
I just finished verse 4.
Okay, so this is where the story of the woman ends. But
She said that she was just gonna cry and die. So like, yeah, I guess. What more is there to say? You're just gonna cry anyways.
He should plead with her.
yeah, so
He could.
it says that they all ceased in verse 3. Literally, it came to pass when all had ceased to console me that I might be calm. But the meaning is best expressed through
When everyone stopped.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
That happens in Greek a lot.
yeah. So verse 10 may reflect a development of the ideas that are here, but
Verse 10. We have not gotten to verse 10.
but we haven't gotten to it yet. Yes. This guy in his commentary is like, but then the hopes and dreams of the years evaporated. misfortune struck like lightning out of the clear blue sky. In the very midst of the marriage festivities, the son was taken by death.
Wow. That's not the translation. That's
No, that's the commentary.
wow.
Dude,
That is fun.
a second grader who's really edgy.
he's got something. He's got. I think he probably just really wanted to be a
A writer.
Yeah, like just like a writer and not like a scholar. So he's having a good time with that. Well, good for him, I guess. He's also filling up words. He's filling up words. He's filling up books with words just to extend that page count.
So the details of the story of the woman and her son are not as important as the general thought of the woman's speech. The woman is beside herself and determines never to re-enter the city, but rather to stay in the field mourning and fasting.
And then die.
And it's a personification of Zion as a mother. Mm-hmm. It recurs with some regularity in the Hebrew Bible. The image, of course, is part of the standard personification of cities as women. Probably one of the most memorable passages with such a personification is Ezekiel 16, where Jerusalem is raised and married by her divine finder. The personification of two cities simultaneously occurs in Ezekiel 23, and a passage in Jeremiah that seems dependent on Ezekiel 23, namely Jeremiah 3, 6-18. So you remember, I'm sure, when we were reading Ezekiel, they made mention of these two women, right? These two kind of,
Why don't I remember that?
You don't remember that? Okay, so they were talking, and we did reference the Jeremiah bit, where they were talking about these two sisters, I think it was.
Yes, now I remember. Okay, right,
Yeah,
okay.
And one was the northern capital, and one was the southern capital.
Yes, okay, I remember that now. Yeah, just that did remind me.
Yes.
So continuing on here, verse 5. Then I broke off the reflections with which I was still engaged.
So
wow.
It says ponderings. It can be reflections. It can be ponderings. It can be, in Latin, sermones, which is sermons, right? Mm-hmm. Syriac had plans or thoughts. This expression appears out of place since it occurs in 939.
It looks like Ezra's getting pretty mad here. And answered her, so he stopped thinking real hard, I guess. And
so he was like in meditation and he's distracted by this woman,
mm-hmm.
and then he stops being in meditation.
Well, no. The thing is, like, when she said that she would just go off and die, this apparently made him real mad. So yeah, and answered her in anger and said, "You most foolish woman! Do you not see our mourning and what has happened to us? For Zion, the mother of us all, is in deep grief and great affliction."
Yeah, it says, he rails at her weeping for the loss of one son, while Zion, the mother of us all, is lost.
It is most appropriate to mourn now because we are all mourning, and to be sorrowful because we are all sorrowing. You are sorrowing for one son, but we, the whole world, for our mother. I like how. So okay, hold on. This woman is. I know this is supposed to be a metaphor, right?
Uh-huh.
But so, imagine saying this to another human being. No. So, you have someone that's really upset that they're. You have someone that's really upset that their kid died. And then Ezra's all like,
your kid died? Oh, well, boo-hoo. There are children starving in Africa,
yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Exactly. That's the same energy. And also, yes, we are atheists reading the Bible. I am getting my degree in religious studies. And I have learned, I still have more learning to do, but I've learned a lot of ancient Greek to learn these things. And I think studying these texts from a secular perspective can help clear up a lot of confusion. And I think it would help us, I think it would help atheists in discussions to, A, know what they're talking about when it comes to the Bible.
Yeah.
Because it would make their case better. And B, you can just have a better time talking to people because you can at least understand where they're coming from.
There's a lot of religious people.
Yeah.
Dr. Josh and his wife.
Yeah.
Digital Hammurabi. Good channel if you haven't checked it out.
Fantastic channel.
They just released a book, like an atheist guide to the Old Testament or something
they
like
did.
that. So yeah, it's not that uncommon for atheists to read the Bible. In fact, I would say that probably if you just look at percentages, atheists in the United States read the Bible more often than Christians per capita of the populations of atheists and Christians.
Was there like a study on that?
No.
I don't know about.
No, that's my guess because I've met so many Christians.
I would
who
say
have no idea what's in the Bible.
I would say
You're
that
right about that, actually.
like I would say that while atheists, more atheists have read the Bible overall, like they're not doing it more like as a perpetual thing.
No,
Like we're an exception.
the way that the believers read the Bible is like they handpick certain chapters.
That happens a
and
lot, yeah.
Then they literally don't read the other chapters. They just read the handpicked sections that they're supposed to read at a certain time, right?
Yeah,
So-
unless like you are,
A scholar.
yeah, unless you're doing that.
But even so, there aren't like, yes, there are many believers who are scholars, but it's not like the most attractive thing for a believer to do, right? You don't want to.
It's not the most attractive thing for anybody to do.
Right. But Lawrence has his own vendetta against religion, so
Sure.
It definitely started off that way, but
Yeah.
now it's just really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's studying it.
well, it is pretty old literature here.
Yeah. So let's continue on with Second Esdras.
Yeah, why don't you?
So yeah, Ezra is just being kind of a shitbag, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see, where was I? Yeah, so it's like there are children dying in Africa. But we, the whole world, for our mother. Now ask the earth, and she will tell you that it is she who ought to mourn over so many who have come into being upon her.
Was that verse 8?
That was verse 9 that I just finished.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, verse 8 was like
Apparently, the translation of verse 8 is pretty uncertain.
well, let's see what some other versions have to say about it. Because luckily we have a whole bunch of versions.
So let me reference verse 8 in here.
It is most appropriate to mourn now because we are all mourning, and to be sorrowful because we're all sorrowing. You are sorrowing for one son, but we the whole world for our mother.
So verse 8 in here is, so there is reason for all of us to lament, to be sad and be grieved, but you grieve over the loss of just one son.
Oh, so yeah, that is different. Although it says here in the textual notes that the translation that's used here and that is used by Metzger is based on the Syriac because and the Latin is noted to be corrupt.
Mm-hmm. And he does note several times that he prefers the Syriac in many of these things.
Right,
So
right.
I'm sure he's wow, they reference this guy. Come on.
Let's see where we are here. Verse 10, I think.
Mhm.
And from the beginning all have been born of her, and others will come, and behold!
Behold.
Almost all go to perdition, and a multitude of them are destined for destruction. Who then ought to mourn the more? she who lost so great a multitude, or you who are grieving for one. Wow, what an asshole.
Yeah.
What a fucking douche.
Presumably
like everybody dies.
Presumably she would also be within the multitude of the whole earth. She has more reason to grieve than Ezra does. Right?
Ezra's a bad person. But if you say to me, my lamentation is not like the earth's, for I have lost the fruit of my womb, which I brought forth in pain and bore in sorrow. But it is with the earth according to the way of the earth. The multitude that is now in it goes as it came.
So the idea is that the earth also has bore these children.
Yeah.
And it is also losing them.
Yeah.
Which still is a really shitty thing to say, right? Like, yeah, people die all the time, you know? They're all somebody's kid.
Then I say to you, as you, and he was like, you know, kind of having this, he was straw manning her, let's be fair.
Yeah.
Then I say to you, as you brought forth in sorrow, so the earth also has from the beginning given her fruit, that is, man, to keep him who made her. Now, therefore, keep your sorrow to yourself, and bear bravely the troubles that have come upon you. For if you acknowledge the decree of God to be just, you will receive your son back in due time, and will be praised among women. Therefore, go into the city to your husband.
So she will get another son who will satisfy her deepest longings as the mother of a son, though a resurrection could be referred to obliquely.
It does kind of seem like they're referring to a resurrection.
Yeah.
This would make sense with the theology of the time, or not
Our
the theology,
ratings.
but like you would come back eventually if you're part of the good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Come back for the earthly, for the heavenly Jerusalem. There you go.
So nothing is said of the travail of the earth, though it may be taken for granted by virtue of the common conception that it did bring forth in pain. It gave its fruits to him who created it, just as a mother presents a child to her husband. Then he exhorts her to bear her grief bravely and accept the divine verdict. In doing so, she will regain her son in one way or another and receive the acclaim of her neighbors. Now, we're going to get a response from the woman.
Oh, okay, good.
But it's only going to be like one verse.
Amazing. What else can you expect from these?
Yeah.
She said to me,
Wait, whose wife was it that lived and died in like a verse? Remember that?
That was Ezekiel's wife.
Yeah.
Ezekiel's wife. Yeah. This
was
is better than that.
Yeah, this is much more in depth than that.
She said to me, I will not do so. I will not go into the city, but I will die here.
Yeah, that's the response that you get.
Just
right?
no. So I spoke again to her and said, do not say that, but let yourself be persuaded because of the troubles of Zion, and be consoled because of the sorrow of Jerusalem. Let yourself be persuaded. That's like the worst way of arguing for anything.
Look, is it, Lawrence? Maybe you want to change your mind.
Hey, Chris, let yourself be persuaded to shut up.
Oh, I was going to keep talking forever, though, because I'm really bad at
let
being
yourself
persuaded.
be persuaded.
I don't know how to do that, so I only know how to keep talking, and it's probably annoying. I'm sorry.
So
It's
we
gonna keep
have a
talking now.
section
It's not
coming
gonna
up.
Oh, you
here.
know what? Actually, hold on. I bet you this is a Greek middle, which is basically what it would mean.
A middle section in Greek?
No. Like, so there is like the active voice, and there's the passive voice. There's also the middle voice, and the middle is like when you say like like I bathe or something.
Mm-hmm.
What's implied is you bathe yourself. You don't have to say yourself.
Right.
So they're saying, so I'm guessing, yeah, but let yourself be persuaded. So be persuaded because it happens like in someone's head. I guess the persuasion could only happen to yourself in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a Greek middle.
Lawrence,
So-
be persuaded.
We have this this rather lengthy section coming up, which though the verse count is small, it does take up a lot of space. So it's a poem that's here. It says the rather lengthy and detailed passage is composed of biblical and apocalyptic reminiscences put together in much the same way as were the hymns of the chronicler and some of the Qumran psalms. The form reflects the author's favorite concept of 7 verses 21 through 23 contain 21 3 times 7 statements. So we are we're getting into it. So there's basically a lamentation psalm that
Great.
is implanted here.
Let's get through it. For you see, you also hear me cough. For you see that our sanctuary has been laid waste, our altar thrown down, our temple destroyed, our harp has been laid low, our song has been silenced, and our rejoicing has been ended. The light of our lampstand has been put out. The ark of our covenant has been plundered. Our holy things have been polluted, and the name by which we are called has been profaned. Our free men have suffered abuse. Our priests have been burned to death. Our Levites have gone into captivity. Our virgins have been defiled, and our wives have been ravished. Our righteous men have been carried off. Our little ones have been cast out. Our young men have been enslaved, and our strong men made powerless. And
So
sorry, go ahead.
So on some of these things that are in here, the light of the candlestick going out is indicative of the cessation of religious services. The Ark of the Covenant is not referred to after the destruction of Solomon's temple or in the temple furniture inventory in the Maccabean period.
Although we did note that at the end of Kings, when you have the Babylonians coming in, it says that they destroyed they took all the golden temple, something like that.
Yeah.
So this is a hint that the author's thinking of the Babylonian conquest.
Yeah.
For the holy vessels, these are the utensils used in connection with temple rites and services. The author may have had in mind Daniel 5:2 through 4. They are given in 1 Maccabees 4:47 through 51, and in Psalms of Solomon 2:3, where the sons of Jerusalem are said to have defiled the holy things. The name that they bear is the name of God, which was given to them. So why don't you continue on in this this
I
poem?
will continue on.
Oh, the priests being burned, perhaps is a play on the burning of the temple, although some priests may actually have been cremated when it was destroyed.
That seems likely. And what is more than all, the seal of Zion? For she has now lost the seal of her glory, and has been given over into the hands of those that hate us. Therefore, shake off your great sadness, and lay aside your many sorrows, so that the Mighty One may be merciful to you again, and the Most High may give you rest, a relief from your troubles. So, stop complaining. That's what it
No.
boils down to.
I wasn't persuaded, and I won't stop complaining.
But you have to let yourself be persuaded.
It's not going to happen. That's like
So-
lying.
So we have a very nuts section that we're about to get into, where we see the identity of this woman.
Oh, great.
Yes,
About time.
it says, then a marvelous thing happens, an extraordinary, perhaps surrealistic scene unique in this book.
All right.
Tight.
We could use a little spice. While I was talking to her, behold!
Behold!
Her face suddenly shone exceedingly, and her countenance flashed like lightning, so that I was too frightened to approach her, and my heart was terrified. While I was wondering what this meant, behold! She suddenly uttered a loud and fearful cry, so that the earth shook at the sound. And I looked, and behold! The woman was no longer visible to me, but there was an established city, and a place of huge foundations showed itself. Then I was afraid, and cried with a loud voice, and said, Where is the angel Uriel, who came to me at first? For it was he who brought me into this overpowering bewilderment.
So
my end has become corruption, and my prayer a reproach.
So, yes, the woman becomes radiant, cries out in a fearsome voice, and is transformed before Ezra's eyes into a city that is
cool.
Spacious and well-founded.
That's pretty cool.
So he's
This
so
is a good
freaked
scene.
out that he calls out for Uriel.
He's like, holy shit, fucking angel, get back here.
Yeah, so
This is a new series, potentially, guys. It's City Morphs.
City
instead of
Morphs.
Animorphs.
no more Animorphs. We're doing City Morphs,
City Morphs.
now.
People come in and they're like, wow, this place is great. And then it turns into one guy.
Holy shit, what a crazy vision.
Yeah, so the newer or heavenly Jerusalem here. A frequently recurring figure in apocalyptic literature. See First Enoch, Second Esdras.
Yeah, we like any apocalyptic literature we'll do here.
Yes, it's also present in the Talmud and
Yeah.
Tanith 5a and Baba Bathra 75b.
Yeah, a heavenly Jerusalem, or I guess an earthly heaven. Like that was all kind of like an expectation, like where you would have this kind of paradise
Yes.
after everyone's brought back.
Now, see now the following passage from Nag Hammadi Codex 6, page 1, line 24, to page 2, line 7.
Wow.
After we had set sail, we continued to have a good journey for a full day and night. Then a storm arose against the ship and drove us to a small city that lay in the midst of the sea. I, Peter, then inquired of several people of the place who stood at the wharf about the name of the city. One of them replied and said to me, The city is called The Truth Strengthens You for patience, and the counsel of your ruler who is in you brings the palm branch for the heart of your people. So apparently...
Is that the name?
Yes.
Oh my god.
What a name.
Yeah.
Classic names.
Yeah, so I guess there is some parallel there. But yeah, there's this like freaky city that pops up out of nowhere. It's the New Jerusalem. Ezra is scared shitless, which is also something that happens in First Enoch, right? When Enoch receives his visions, he becomes afraid.
Yeah.
So continue.
As I was speaking these words, behold!
Oh,
The angel who had come to me at first came to me, and he looked upon me, and behold!
behold.
I lay there like a corpse, and I was deprived of my understanding. Then he grasped my right hand and strengthened me and set me on my feet and said to me, What is the matter with you? And why are you troubled? And why are your understanding and the thoughts of your mind troubled? I said, Because you have forsaken me. I did as you directed and went out into the field, and behold,
Behold.
I
I saw and still see what I am unable to explain. He said to me, Stand up like a man, and I will instruct you. I said, Speak, my Lord, only do not forsake me, lest I die before my time. For I have seen what I did not know, and I have heard what I do not understand. Or is my mind deceived and my soul dreaming? Now, therefore, I entreat you to give your servant an explanation of this bewildering vision.
So, the bewildering vision, this translates it as explain to your servant this confusion. But
I mean, he did seem pretty confused.
He's confused.
yeah. It also says that it literally means this mental aberration.
Aren't we all just mental aberrations?
I hope you're not. That would just make it really confusing.
And you keep coughing.
Hope I'm not what?
A mental aberration.
We have some water.
Good. Drink that water.
All right, let's continue.
Yeah, go on.
He answered me and said, "Listen to me, and I will inform you."
So Uriel's about to angel splain, and that is...
Well, I mean, he straight up, like Ezra straight up asked Uriel.
Right.
Like, I can't understand any of this. Like, there was a woman, she was crying, and then she turned into a city after a bunch of lightning.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to get. Basically, for the rest here is Uriel providing his explanation.
Yeah, so we're going to learn why this woman is Zion. So yeah, listen to me, and I will inform you and tell you about the things which you fear. For the Most High has revealed many secrets to you. For he has seen your righteous conduct, that you have sorrowed continually for your people, and mourn greatly over Zion. This, therefore, is the meaning of the vision. The woman who appeared to you a little while ago, whom you saw mourning and began to console, but you do not now see the form of a woman, but an established city has appeared to you. And as for her telling you about the misfortune of her son, this is the interpretation. This woman whom you saw, whom you now behold as an established city, is Zion. Gasp. And as for her telling you that she was barren for 30 years, it is because there were 3,000 years in the world before any offering was offered in it. Ah, that's interesting. If there's any commentary on that could tell us a lot about.
What verse was that?
That was verse 45.
45.
But there is some
30
textual
years.
notes. Yeah, so
There's no variation here in the versions. All have 30, which represents 100th of 3,000, as indicated in the next clause.
it also, so there are two textual notes here.
3,000 is said to mark the years between creation and the building of the temple. Again, all versions have that number except the Armenian and Latin. The number refers to the time between creation and the building of the temple. Gunkel in Loco adopts the Latin and Armenian reading in line with the Latin reading in the next verse and interprets the 3 years as the time that elapsed between the beginning of Solomon's reign and the building of the temple in 1 Kings 6:1.
Yeah, so it just seems like the other versions are corrupt, which is why they take the 3,000.
No, it seems like those two versions are the only ones among many versions that have anything other than 3,000.
Well, yeah. So because they're corrupt, they don't even like. Okay, whatever. I think we're saying the same thing 2 different ways, honestly.
Nope.
No, I think we are.
Exact opposite things in 4 different ways.
Wow, that's unfortunate. Yeah, it is because there were 3,000 years in the world before any offering was offered in it. And after 3,000 years, Solomon built the city and offered offerings. Then it was that the barren woman bore a son. And as for her telling you that she brought him up with much care, that was the period of residence in Jerusalem. And as for her saying to you, when my son entered his wedding chamber, he died, and that misfortune had overtaken her, that was the destruction which befell Jerusalem. And behold, you saw her likeness, how she mourned for her son, and you began to console her for what happened. he did a really bad job.
Yeah.
For now, the Most High, seeing that you are sincerely grieved and profoundly distressed for her, has shown you the brilliance of her glory and the loveliness of her beauty.
So this is also a poem. These last 4 bits, that you were sad in spirit and that you wholeheartedly lamented for her. He displayed to you her splendorous glory and the radiance of her beauty. Now, more about this this timeline here. It says after 3,000 years. If the 3,000 figure is followed, the interpretation would be the same as that noted in verse 45. So also, if the Latin reading of 3 is followed, one manuscript has after 3,000 an explanation, qui sunt tres etates trigintaque generationes, which are 3 years and 30 generations, counting 30 generations from Adam to Solomon and 3 years into Solomon's reign. Thus we get 3,000 years as the time from creation to Solomon, 30 years as 30 generations, 3 years as the time after the beginning of Solomon's reign.
Hooray!
All right, then.
And I'm not sure that, yeah, I mean, it does say, does yours have a reference to Solomon, verse 46?
Then 46?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are references to Solomon here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're just establishing a timeline. So we can establish that roughly 3,000 years after the creation of the world is when the temple was built, the first temple.
Yeah, that's what they're going for. Therefore, I told you to go into the field where there was no foundation of any building, for no work of man's building could endure in a place where the city of the Most High was to be revealed. Ooh, wow. Therefore, do not be afraid, and do not let your heart be terrified, but go in and see the splendor and vastness of the building.
Wow. Was that verse 55?
Yes.
So verse 55 says here, hence you must not be afraid, and do not let your heart be terrified, but enter and behold.
Behold.
Yeah, the building as far as it is possible for your eyes to see it. Yeah, so once you put these works of man's hands into the heavenly realm, they got nothing. You can't even do that really. And you can barely see whatever you can see that's heavenly. Take it, and it's that's all the glory that you're getting. And afterward, you will hear as much as your ears can hear, for you are more blessed than many, and you have been called before the Most High, as but few have been.
So, you have a name in here, and it means literally you are called or named by the Most High.
Oh.
Which is something that happens to some people.
Yeah.
And also being more fortunate than many is an expression that also occurs in Ruth and in 1 Samuel. So there you go.
Continuing on here. But tomorrow night you shall remain here, and the Most High will show you in those dream visions what the Most High will do to those who dwell on the earth in the last days.
Yes.
So I slept that night, and following one, So I slept that night and the following one as he commanded me.
Yeah. So this is a way that people receive visions from God, is through dreams.
Yes. And it's also interesting how the whole time he has completely dodged the question of when. He already explained what he was going to do.
Yeah.
To the people.
And that's the end of chapter 10, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, hey, if you guys are enjoying the stream, like, comment, subscribe. We're about halfway through here. And we will be getting into the next section as soon as I find the commentary spots to put my bookmarks.
Your magic card.
Yeah. My trap card.
No, they're all bad.
Oh, no. Okay. So, there's not much commentary.
Yeah, so this is the fifth vision, and of course the eagle vision.
Mhm.
That's what we're getting into. It's
So,
gonna be quite fun, I think.
the eagle was the Roman standard, and it arose out of a Western Sea, and it doubtless represents Rome, the world power of the time. So,
Yeah, pretty much every commentary here agrees.
yes.
And saying that it's from the sea is also really big because you have the reference to Daniel
Mhm.
and the reference in Revelation.
Yes. And from a bunch of other things, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Like that bit in the Alphabet of Ben Sira with the fox.
Oh yeah, that was dumb, man. I love the alphabet of Ben Sira.
Yep. Absurd. But, I mean, other than that, there really isn't that much commentary on this whole chapter that we're about to read. There's a little bit of textual stuff, but as for, like, his flowery commentary that he provides, there's, like, he contains as a whole section 1060 through 12:3.
Yeah, quite a big section.
So I'm assuming that this chapter is just not that exciting, or maybe it is.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we're getting into the eagle vision now. Eagle vision. Then, in the second night, I had a dream in which I saw an eagle coming up out of the sea. It had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. As I kept looking, it spread out its wings over the whole earth, so that all the winds of heaven blew upon it, and the clouds gathered round it. Moreover, I observed rival wings spring up out of its wings that became puny and petty wings.
Yeah, so they have taken over the entire area, spread their wings. They have asserted their dominance. And then there's the usurpers, but then they are quickly quelled.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that is also noted here.
Yeah.
And it says they were quickly squelched, but quelled is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Squelled.
But its heads were dormant. The middle head was larger than the other heads, though it too was dormant as they were. Then I saw
There's so much apocalyptic stuff in here. I love it.
Yeah. Then I saw that the eagle flew with its wings to gain dominion over the earth and its inhabitants. I saw, too, how everything under heaven was subjected to it, so that no one resisted it, not a single creature on earth. As I kept looking, the eagle rose upon its talons and spoke to its wings as follows. Okay, I guess it's going to speak to its own wings, even though its heads are dormant.
Good times.
Do not all stand guard at the same time. Sleep, each one in its place, and stand guard in turn. But the heads are to be kept till last. When I looked again, I noticed that the voice did not come from its heads, but from the middle of its body. I counted its rival wings and found there were 8 of them. That seems out of place. It seems like they were just talking about this, and then they go back to talking about the wings, which they already talked about before. And I guess it continues on about the wings here. When I looked on the right side, I saw one wing rise, and it held sway over the whole earth. Then, after its rule ended, it disappeared so that even its place was no longer visible. Then the next one rose up and held sway for a long time. As its rule came to its end and it disappeared, just like its predecessor, a voice spoke to it as follows. Listen, you who have held sway over the earth for such a long time, to this proclamation before you are about to depart. No one after you will hold sway for so long as you did, not even half as long. Then the third wing elevated itself, held sway like its predecessors, but it too disappeared. So I'm sure that these are references.
Yeah, so there's quite a lot here to mention. So the details of the bird with its various wings, 12 before others start to grow, and heads, 3 at first, are not easily identifiable. Surely the reader of the book in the first century understood the references to specific emperors or regional rulers. Apocalyptic authors were writing for their contemporaries and had no idea that later generations would need more clues than the people of their own time, which is fair. That is one of the things that makes apocalyptic literature so great, though, is that it's like they're shrouded in mystery. Even though from the name apocalypse, from apocalypsus, which means revealing or unveiling, something is being hidden. It's really weird. But anyways,
but these are references to different rulers.
Yeah. So so some of the symbolism,
Presumably different Caesars, right?
or
There's
just
something
different rulers
of
in
the
general.
type, right? Because they're talking about Rome directly here.
Yeah.
Emperors.
Yeah, there were emperors, there were Caesars, or Kaisars, rather. Yeah, so lots of stuff there.
So there is a good note here. Maybe we should get to that at the end of the vision, though, because it seems to include that.
The vision goes on into
I
chapter 12.
It does, yeah.
Right.
Okay, you know what? I'll just get to it right now. So in his dream vision, Ezra sees the eagle go up in flames. So sorry for the spoiler. That's going to happen in chapter 12.
I was so hoping that
this-
eagle would be around forever. They were setting it up to be around forever for sure.
This vision is so frightening that he prays to God to help him understand this terrifying vision. The angel responds again in the continuing interchangeability between God and the angelic figure. The angel also refers to the book of Daniel, this time by name, calling that seer a brother to Ezra. His interpretation of the dream is no surprise. In the list of rulers, Caesar Augustus is clearly recognizable as the second in the list after Julius Caesar. He has things to say about some of the 12 wings or emperors. This number, of course, does not identify individuals. There are not exactly 12 Roman emperors from Julius Caesar to the time of the writer, but the writer does use convincing imaginative detail to depict that final end of this monstrous affront to humankind. There have been proposals that the author uses the 3 sleeping heads to refer to the Flavian emperors, Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian, who ruled in the years leading up to the writing of this book.
Mm.
And that's the most interesting commentary I'm going to have for you here.
Okay. So let's continue here.
We're going to get into one more afterwards, but there's like a second part to this vision.
Mm. And so it was with all the wings, each one in turn assuming leadership and then likewise disappearing. As I kept looking, I saw in the course of time the other wings on the right side set themselves up to take leadership. Some of them held sway but disappeared at once, while others of them set themselves up but did not achieve leadership.
So a lot of people were going for the Roman throne.
Yeah. And some
people got high up there, some
and
people didn't.
others didn't. Okay, so later I looked and saw that the 12 wings and the 2 winglets had disappeared. so that nothing was left of the eagle's body except for the 3 dormant heads and the 6 little wings. As I kept looking, I saw that 2 of the 6 winglets disengaged themselves from the rest and remained under the head that was on the right side, while the 4 remained in their place. So let's talk about these for a moment here.
So like detached itself.
Yeah, the 12 wings and the 2 winglets. With the exception of the 2 winglets, the number is the same as in verse 1. The wings certainly represent Roman emperors, but just exactly which ones is uncertain. Box thinks that according to the original significance of the vision, the 6 Julian emperors are meant, plus the 2 conspirators, possibly Vindex and Nymphidius, in the latter part of the reign of Nero.
I like those names.
But Suetonius also refers to 12 Caesars. As for the 3 dormant heads, this is generally regarded as referring to the Flavians, Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. At this point, in the vision, they had not yet become active. For the 2 of the 6 winglets, there's considerable disagreement as to who they were. Gunkel thinks of Mucianus and Tiberius Alexander. Osterley thinks of Agrippa II and Bernice. Violet suggests Nerva and Trajan.
Yeah, those were later, though.
Mm-hmm. So there is disagreement about what all these.
Yeah, people have been disagreeing about apocalyptic imagery for like forever.
Mm-hmm. Then I observed that these subwings plotted to set themselves up to achieve leadership. As I kept on looking, one set itself up but disappeared at once. Then a second, and it disappeared more rapidly than the preceding one. While I continued to look, the 2 remaining ones themselves plotted to assume rule. At the time they were plotting, one of the dormant heads, the one in the middle and larger than the other 2, awoke. Ooh. Then I observed how the 2 other heads were conjoined with it, and how the head with its conjoiners turned and devoured the 2 subwings that plotted to rule. This head subdued the whole earth.
This would be a weird animal.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. This head subdued the whole earth, held ruthless sway over all the inhabitants, and exercised more power over the world than all the wings that preceded it. After this, I looked again and saw the head in the middle disappear suddenly, just as the wings had done. However, the 2 heads that held sway over the earth and those who inhabited it remained. While I was looking, I saw the head on the right side devour the one on the left. Then I heard a voice saying to me, "Look in front of you and contemplate what you see." Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
You know, at that point, you probably would be contemplating what you see.
Yeah. You'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
So the head on the right must be Domitian, and the one on the left, Titus. Whether Domitian assisted Titus out of this world, as widespread tradition had it, cannot be proved.
Assisted him out of this world. That's
Yes.
great.
Well, you know,
Officer, all I did was assist him out of this world.
yeah, I did him a favor. Don't worry about it. So he's contemplating what he's seeing. When I looked, I saw what appeared like a raging lion coming roaring out of the forest, and I heard it talk in human language to the eagle, which is a language now, human language.
Human language.
Wonder if there is a reference here.
Nope.
They're speaking common.
Yeah, they're speaking common, basically. They don't have any commentary on this verse. So now we're going to get into something else.
What verse is that?
That was verse 37. It spoke as follows. "Now you listen, and I will speak to you. The Most High declares to you, Are you not the only one of the 4 beasts left that I appointed to hold sway over my world, so that through them the end of my times might come?
So it says man's voice, which would at the time, if it's Greek, it makes perfect sense because anthropos can mean both just human and man. So if this was Greek, then both translations are fine.
So yeah, there are these 4 beasts. What do you know about the 4 beasts, Lawrence?
Well, we got Daniel. That's a big thing. So the imagery there is really, really strong about these nations. So you just read verse 30. What verse did you just finish, actually?
I just finished verse 39.
Yeah, so I'm looking too far ahead there. So Ezra receives instructions to write down the revelation that he has received and to keep it in a safe hiding place. Only to the wise can these revelations be disclosed.
That is not what I just read.
Oh, shit.
I'm in chapter 11.
Yeah. It's in 2 chapters. That's covering.
I guess we'll get to that.
Yep.
Spoiler warning.
And you keep
My bad.
spoiling everything now. There's nothing to look forward to.
That's okay. There's never been anything to look forward to. So the scene builds up to the appearance of another symbol from the animal kingdom, a lion, who is given a human voice. The lion was a traditional symbol for kingship in the kingdom of Judah. The lion imagery has been used before. In fact, it continued to be used in Ethiopia, for example.
No.
Here, the symbol is employed for the great kingly figure to come, the Messiah. There were already various understandings among Jews of the manner in which the time of fulfillment would come. The Testament of Moses, about contemporary with this section, 10:1 reads, "Thus his kingdom will appear throughout his whole creation, and this without any intermediary." Another expectation was that God would use a figure like the kings of old to usher in the kingdom. Such an intermediary was sometimes a priestly figure, and sometimes both the kingly and priestly figures appeared together, as at Qumran. Here, in Esdras, the messianic figure directly addresses the eagle. The scene is the future final assessment of the Roman Empire in the mind of this author. The speech of the lion,
which I'll get into shortly here.
Yeah.
It basically goes until the end of the chapter.
Okay, so you finish that, and then I have commentary.
All right, so it's noteworthy that this is the only one of the 4 beasts that's left.
Yeah, but the beasts, at least like as far as imagery goes, often just the traditional enemies of Israel, just like the 9 bows in Egypt were the traditional enemies of Egypt.
Mm-hmm. You are the 4th that has come, and you have subdued all the preceding beasts, holding sway over the world with great terror, and over the entire earth with an utmost oppression. You lived for so long in the world with duplicity. You have not judged the earth with truth. You have oppressed the meek. You have injured the peaceful. You have hated those who speak the truth. You have loved liars. You have destroyed the homes of the thrifty. You have raised the walls of those who did you no harm. And your arrogance has reached the Most High, and your haughtiness the Almighty. The Most High has considered his times. Now they have come to an end. His ages have attained completion. Therefore, you eagle, you will vanish with your horrible wings, with your evil winglets, with your malicious heads, with your ghastly talons, with your whole sinister body. Thus, the whole earth will be relieved and delivered from your power. Then it can hope for justice and the compassion of him who made it. And that is the end of chapter 11. You know, if you enjoyed the stream so far.
All two of you.
Hey, you know what? This is we got a lot of cool visions here.
Yeah, a lot of cool visions.
So on the ending of this here, the speech of the lion refers the reader to the book of Daniel, the second half of which is the only fully apocalyptic work in the canon of the Hebrew Bible. It was a standard practice of writers of apocalyptic literature to make direct and indirect references to previous writings. These writers knew their scriptures well, and they expected their readers also to be familiar with them. The lion asserts to the eagle itself that the eagle is the last of the four beasts of Daniel 7. He accuses the eagle of oppression and deceit. Because of virtually all kinds of evil, the lion inveighs against the eagle. Most dramatically, he announces that the end of the ages of anticipation has come. The eagle, too, must now come to an end. Then, at last, the earth will relax and rejoice. The end, when it comes, will be definitive. So, obviously, that one didn't work out. So, just because Rome is gone, or the Roman Empire, I should say, the way that it was is certainly not around. Does not have that crazy influence.
So,
like, Rome is still there, obviously, but you know what I mean.
I don't know if I should read this now. There's a rather lengthy excursus on the eagle vision in here.
Well, I mean, it assumes the imagery in Daniel, and directly plays off of it, right?
Well, it goes over different people's views of all these things.
Oh, okay.
So, let me just read this really quickly, even though it's long. Naturally, the eagle vision has occasioned all kinds of speculations on the identity of its heads, wings, and subwings. For purposes of accounting for the present writer's views, as far as that is possible, it may be helpful to give a brief summary of some of the more significant identifications. It is unnecessary to give here the more extreme and wholly discredited views of the past century, or to do more than to mention of that of A. Hilgenfield, who connected the vision with Greek history from Alexander the Great through the Ptolemies. He maintained throughout all the three heads were Caesar, Anthony, and Octavian. A. Gottschmid and A.M. Lahire and the other scholars after or contemporary with them agree on Rome as the emperor involved, but vary widely in the identification of the kings. Emperors involved extended from Caesar to Macrinus and his son Diadumenianus. Yep.
All right.
AD 217. The 12 wings were Caesar, Augustus, Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius, Nero, Vespasian, Domitian, Trajan, Hadrian, Antonius, Marcus Aurelius with Commodus. The 8 winglets were Titus, Nerva, Pertinax, Ditus, Julianus, Persenius, Niger, Clodius, Albinus, Macrinus, and Diadumenianus. The 3 heads were Septimus Severus, Caracilla, and Geta. Those who held the view that the wings were to be regarded as pairs, 12 wings equals 6 pairs, 8 winglets equals 4 pairs, identified the 12, 6 pairs, with the 6 Julian emperors and the 8, 4 pairs, with Galba, Otho, Vitellius, and Nerva. The heads represented the 3 Flavians, Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. M.J. Lagrange thought that the original vision had 6 wings on the right side and 6 corresponding wings on the left. The 2 last winglets stand for the unrest expected by the author after the demise of Domitian. Later, the number of wings was doubled and 2 winglets added. E. Schurer identified the 3 heads with the Flavians and accounted for 20 wings by counting the emperors from Caesar to Domitian together with all the Roman commanders during the disorders from AD 68 through 70. The 2 winglets referred to last did not stand for persons, Box's view is as follows. The original vision dates from AD 95. The 12 wings represent the Julians, the 8 winglets usurpers, and the 3 heads the Flavians. The wings were conceived in pairs to indicate the statues and the status and powers of the emperors. The redactor, who assembled second Esdras in AD 120, identified the 3 heads with Trajan, Hadrian, and Lucius Quietus, and the 12 wings with the 6 Julians.
Quietus?
Yes, that's his name.
Wow.
And the 12 wings with the 6 Julians, plus Galba, Otho, Vitellius, Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. There is a rejection of this pair theory in one of Kuhler's works. Gunkel held that this 12 wings, 6 on the right and 6 on the left, represented 12 emperors. Those on the right he identified as Caesar Augustus, who reigned longer than any of his successors, Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius, and Nero. Those on the left, who ruled only a short time, represented Galba, Otho, Vitellius, Vindex, Nymphidius, and Piso. The 3 heads he identified with the Flavians, the middle one being Vespasian, the one on the right Domitian, and the one on the left Titus. He went on to say, however, that identifications of the 8 winglets or subwings is quite another matter. 4 had gone under before Vespasian, 2 who were killed by him, and 2 allied with him. But who were they? The 2 allied with Vespasian may have been the prefects of Syria and Egypt, Mucianus and Tiberius Alexander. But as for the others, the author was better acquainted with the period than we are. Kuhlers believed that 2nd Esdras was written in the year 30 after the fall of Jerusalem. The 3 heads there stood for the Flavians, the 2 winglets for the weak Nerva and Trajan, whom Ezra, in 2nd Esdras, did not know. The 2nd wing, which ruled longer than the rest, was Augustus. There is not room enough for 16, 10 wings and 6 winglets, between Augustus and Vespasian, so the number has somehow been corrupted. To explain the corruption, he resorted to Lagrange's interpretation of the number. Each side of the eagle had 3 wings and 3 rival wings. Then a Christian interpolator of the 3rd century AD added 1111 and 1120 through 23, whose meaning Kuhlers expressed this way: 2 of them perished when the middle head approached. He alters the numbers in 11:1, 12, 14 through 16, from 6 to 12, and in 12...
11:11 was, and I counted his opposing wings, and behold, there were 8 of them.
And in 12:20 from 6 to 8. That explains why the number of rival wings in 11:3 is not given. Since the rival wings sprang out of the larger wings, it follows that their number was the same as that of the parent wings. The 2 rival wings in 11:22 are not once mentioned as reigning, and were inserted by the Christian author since he did not yet come to terms with the doublings of the wings. Historically, then, there is no further difficulty. The 6 wings are the 6 Julians, the 3 heads the 3 Flavians, the 6 rival wings, Galba, Otho, Vitellius, Civilis, Nerva, and Trajan. Osterley, with nearly all the above interpreters, agrees that the eagle stands for the Roman Empire. The 6 wings on the right are Caesar, Augustus, Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius, Nero. The 6 on the left are Galba, Otho, Vitellius, Vindex, Nymphidius, Piso. The 8 rival wings are 2, Herod the Great and Agrippa I. 4, Eleazar, John of Gischala, Simon Bar Giora, and John the Idumean. 2, Agrippa II and Bernice. Torrey held that the basic number of the wings was originally 8 in 1111, which was increased to 12, doubtless for the sake of later history. The 3 heads were the Flavians. 3 plus 8, original wings, equals 11, which a later editor increased to 12, a sacred number. Writing in the time of Domitian, he resolutely believed that the next emperor would spell the doom of Rome, so he increased the number from 20 to 23, allowing...
I think it would be more likely that somebody add in 8 than not. So I think considering that their So I think in Revelations, if I'm remembering in Revelation, if I'm remembering properly, there were 7 heads, and then there was an extra one that came about later, but it was one of the 7. So they have a total of 8 heads, right? I think as an addition, it would make more sense.
So this person, Tori, increased the number from 20 to 23, it says that a redactor did that, which would allow for the continuation of the history of the empire if necessary, probably in line with the indefiniteness of apocalyptic witness.
Yeah.
Now we only have a couple more to go over, so, but yes, it is.
We went over what, 3 of them? 3 different explanations?
We've gone over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 and some minor ones. So
I mean,
there's more here.
I know there's more, but do we really need more?
Yes. H. Rowley is not specific. He simply says the eagle vision represents Daniel's 4th kingdom and stands for the Roman Empire. The wings and heads indicate Roman emperors. The 3 heads represent the 3 Flavians. It appears to the present writer that the authors mentioned above are too specific, simply pleading for a particular literary hypothesis. While there may have been some additions and alterations in the text, it is hardly legitimate to speculate too much on such bases. It seems clear that the eagle vision is concerned with the Roman Empire, whose insignia was the eagle. It also appears fairly certain that the 3 heads stand for the 3 Flavian empires, Vespasian the middle head, Domitian the right, and Titus the left. The 12 wings also stand for Roman emperors, but just which ones is not certain. The one who is said to have ruled longer than any of the others is probably Augustus. One before it then must have been Caesar. It is possible that the 12 wings include the generally accepted rulers from Caesar to Domitian, i.e. Caesar, Augustus, Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius, Nero, Galba, Otho, Vitellius, Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. The identity of the 8 rival wings or winglets or subwings cannot be determined with any degree of certainty. The 3 heads, also reckoned with the wings, may stand for the rulers who lived in the author's time. It is always wise not to attempt a too specific identification of apocalyptic figures in the absence of other compelling evidence that warrants it. Apart from the eagle, the main feature of the vision is the figure of the lion, who in the explanation is identified as Unctus, the anointed one, the Messiah. This occurs in chapter 12, in the middle of chapter 12. So
we will get there.
We will get there. And there's some explanation for why this is so. He is held in reserve until the end days, i.e. until the eagle is about to be destroyed. He is connected with the seed of David, which is elsewhere associated with the tribe of Judah. The lion symbolism here appears to be based on Genesis 49:9. The Yalkut Shimoni on that passage is interesting. Judah is a young lion, Genesis 49:9. That is the Messiah, Ben David, who will come forth out of the 2 tribes. His father is from Judah and his mother from Dan, and both together were called lion. As it is said, a young lion is Judah, and further, Dan is a young lion. Deuteronomy 33:22. The metaphor also occurs in Genesis 37:33, 1 Maccabees 3:4, 2 Maccabees 11:11, 1 QSB 5:29. The connection between the Messiah and the lion may be due to the common association with the tribe of Judah. It is also possible with the same connection that the house of David had a lion on its banner or insignia. In view of the lion's supposed royal traits, the link may go back to the house of David and may have been carried on after it lost its throne. The question of the lacuna in the Latin text of 1232 or the addition transmitted by the other versions cannot be answered inclusively. The fact that the Most High was reserved until the end of days points towards the pre-existent Messiah, while the addition of the seed of David combines that figure with the Davidic Messiah. As Moore remarked, the function of the Messiah after the fall of Jerusalem, AD 70, was to denounce the Roman Empire and destroy it. So, That's
a very wide range of possible explanations. Some may require more editing than others, I guess.
yeah, and there's some explanation there as to why lions are associated with the Messiah, and yeah, I mean,
There's quite a bit going on here.
now you all know all of the theories that scholars have about this eagle.
And we can go to the next chapter.
Yes, we can.
Yes, I'm going to.
He again.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure. And this vision is still going. So this lion is all like, you've had your chance. Now you will be destroyed. You will be taken down. I'm gonna get you. So chapter 12. While the lion was saying these words to the eagle, I looked, and behold, the remaining head disappeared, and the two wings that had gone over to it arose, and set themselves up to reign, and their reign was brief and full of tumult. And I looked, and behold. Also, Reuben is shouting behold in the bathroom.
Yeah, I can hear him.
They also disappeared, and the whole body of the eagle was burned, and the eagle was exceedingly terrified. Sounds dead to me.
I don't know how it's feeling this terror without any heads or anything.
No idea.
But, here it is, feeling terror while burning.
Then I awoke in great perplexity he wakes up finally. Then I awoke in great perplexity of mind and great fear. And I said to my spirit, behold, you have brought this upon me because you search out the ways of the Most High. Behold, I am still weary in mind and very weak in my spirit, and not even a little strength is left in me, because of the great fear with which I have been terrified this night. Therefore, I will now beseech the Most High that he may strengthen me to the end. So he's just exhausted after this vision. Oh my God. Look who has returned.
Yeah, so that's so many beholds in one section.
It is. Yes.
Where are we in here?
So
Literally like 3 beholds in one sentence even.
How many verses?
I just finished verse 6.
Okay, so verse 4 has prying into the ways of the Most High, right? Does it say that in yours?
Well, verse 4 brought this upon you because you search out the ways of the Most High.
Okay, so the Old Testament's full of prayers imploring the Lord to show his way to servants, and the prophets exhorted Israel to seek and obey his way. There's also the awareness of the fact that his ways were past finding out, as in Romans 11:33.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I said, O sovereign Lord, if I have found favor in thy sight, and if I have been accounted righteous before thee beyond many others, and if my prayer has indeed come up before thy face, strengthen me and show me, thy servant, the interpretation and meaning of this terrifying vision, that thou mayest fully comfort my soul. For thou hast judged me worthy to be shown the end of the times and the last events of the times.
Yeah, so try to imagine yourself in Ezra's position here. First, he sees
got 3 subscribers.
Oh. Well,
thank you.
Thank you for
all
those
abandoning
subscribers.
God.
Yeah, thank you.
So
here's another one. Is something going on?
I don't know.
I guess
Did-
maybe our viewers
is
actually
only Ellie important?
maybe our viewers actually liked and subscribed and shared.
Maybe that is what they did. Or
But
Crazy.
if it's a bot, then it's a bot. Who?
yeah, but moreover, so first, Ezra sees this vision of a woman who's mourning, and then she turns into a city. Then he's delivered this crazy vision of this eagle with all these wings and all these heads.
Yep.
And now he's like freaking out, man, right? I mean, as you would be. And he's still being told about how the world's going to end.
Yeah.
So
he wakes up, he's having the sweats, and he's like, oh, okay, God, you better tell me what this is.
Go watch this be a dream within a dream.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
So he said to me, this is the interpretation of this vision which you have seen. The eagle which you saw coming up from the sea is the fourth kingdom, which appeared in a vision to your brother Daniel. So I think that there was some commentary on that, right?
What verse was that?
That was verse 10.
Verse 10. His brother
Oh yeah, here it is.
Daniel.
So the fourth kingdom. Actually, that was verse 11. Sorry.
Yes, with the fourth kingdom of Daniel, the eagle vision, illustrates the Jewish concept of the vitality of Scripture, which contains secret, hidden meanings, always susceptible to contemporary significance. One is reminded of the Pesrim of Qumran. Certainly, even if this vision can be made to coincide in details with that in Daniel, which it cannot, the time situation is different and hence required reapplication to meet the needs of the writer's time.
Yeah, it's noted that the fourth kingdom in Daniel's vision symbolized the Greek or Macedonian Empire. Here, however, it is reinterpreted compared to verse 12 to refer to the Roman Empire.
Yeah. So there's also some bits on the interpretations, which I read out already.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. But it was not explained to him, as I now explain or have explained it to you. That's pretty funny.
But I do want to see, they named Daniel as his brother, and surely this, the angel refers to the book of Daniel, this time by name, calling that seer a brother to Ezra. It's not literally his brother.
Yeah,
right?
not literally.
Not even close. So
I'll continue.
yeah.
But it was not explained to him as I now explain or have explained it to you. Behold!
Behold.
The days are coming when a kingdom shall arise on earth, and it shall be more terrifying than all the kingdoms that have been before it.
So there's a little bit more. It says here that not being interpreted in the same way that it's now interpreted, which was stated a little differently in there. But he interprets it now to refer to Rome, not to Greece, as in Daniel.
Yeah.
Descriptions in the New Testament, Luke 21:20, Revelations 13:1, indicate as much. Though the term fourth kingdom does not appear there, there's some evidence for it in other literature, e.g. Psalms of Solomon 2:29, 2 Baruch 39:5. And the Babylonian Talmud, Aboda Zara 1b, interprets the fourth kingdom of Daniel 7:23 as referring to Rome. Violet thinks the whole verse is a gloss by a Greek reader.
Yeah, and it shall be more terrifying than all the kingdoms that have been before it. And 12 kings shall reign in it, one after another. But the second that is to reign shall hold sway for a longer time than any of the other 12.
So the interpretations of each one being worse than the prior one may be based on a tradition reflected in Suetonius's Lives of the 12 Caesars, Kaisars.
This is the interpretation of the 12 wings which you saw. As for your hearing a voice that spoke, coming not from the eagle's heads, but from the midst of his body, this is the interpretation. In the midst of the time of that kingdom, great struggles shall arise, and it shall be in danger of falling. Nevertheless, it shall not fall then, but shall regain its former power. As for your seeing 8 little wings clinging to his wings, this is the interpretation. 8 kings shall arise in it, whose times shall be short and their years swift. And 2 of them shall perish when the middle of its time draws near. And 4 shall be kept for the time when its end approaches. But 2 shall be kept until the end. As for your seeing 3 heads at rest, this is the interpretation. In the last days, the Most High will raise up 3 kings, and they shall renew many things in it, and shall rule the earth and its inhabitants more oppressively than all who were before them. Therefore, they are called the heads of the eagle.
The play on heads here and in the next verse is difficult to recapture.
For it is they who shall sum up his wickedness and perform his last actions. As for your seeing that the large head disappeared, one of the kings shall die in his bed, but in agonies.
So it could be either Vespasian or Trajan. The former was confronted by a serious plague and a conspiracy in the last year of his reign. Yet he, despite his deteriorating condition, managed to rise to his feet and die like a soldier. The latter was faced with unrest in Britain, the Danube area, and the East, as well as his own declining health. He suffered a stroke at Antioch and was compelled to turn back. On the way at Selinus in Cilicia, he died.
As is tradition.
That is his history.
No, dying is tradition. That's really the only reason we do it anymore.
Yep.
It's
great.
But as for the 2 who remained, the sword shall devour them.
So some traditions have it that Domitian assisted in the demise of his brother Titus, who, however, actually died of a fever, perhaps induced. Thus, he did not die by the sword. Domitian was slain by a freedman, Stephanus, in AD 96. Hadrian, on the other hand, died of a hemorrhage in January AD 138. On tradition that Domitian removed Titus, read other books.
For the sword of one shall devour him who was with him, but he shall fall by the sword in the last days. As for your seeing 2 little wings passing over to the head, which was on the right side, this is the interpretation. It is these whom the Most High has kept for the eagle's end. This was the reign which was brief and full of tumult, as you have seen. And as for the lion, whom you saw rousing up out of the forest and roaring and speaking to the eagle and reproving him for his unrighteousness, and as for all his words that you have heard, this is the Messiah, whom the Most High has kept until the end of days, who will arise from the posterity of David and will come and speak to them.
So,
he will denounce them for their ungodliness and for their wickedness, and will cast before them their contemptuous dealings.
So this holds both that this as a pre-existent Messiah and that it arises from the line of David, which is curious.
Well, yep.
Good times.
Maybe we're talking about like a spirit of the Messiah and then the physical body. This is where, it gets weird here. Yeah. This might have something Christological.
It might. Of course, the timeline doesn't work if it is both pre-existent and arises.
Well, if he was just sticking around until he had to be born, I don't yeah, it's weird. It's not a way we usually think about life, because why would we?
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up here.
How
much more do we got?
We got plenty more.
Oh, come
on. Yeah, long episode. So this lion is the Messiah. He will denounce them for their ungodliness and for their wickedness, and will cast up before them their contemptuous dealings. For first, he will set them living before his judgment seat. And when he has reproved them, then he will destroy them. Okay, so everyone comes back for the judgment.
Yes, we
Um,
discussed that.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, and okay, it's
Yeah, we have.
yeah, and okay, it's everyone, and then there's the judgment.
Yes, that was established.
Yep.
Great. But he will deliver in mercy the remnant of my people, those who have been saved throughout my borders, and he will make them joyful until the end comes, the day of judgment, of which I spoke to you at the beginning. This is the dream that you saw, and this is the interpretation. And you alone were worthy to learn this secret of the Most High. Oh, shit.
So apocalypticists, not apocalypticists, apocalyptists,
Okay.
they regarded themselves as unique recipients of divine revelation.
I
So-
could tell. Also, oops, should we be reading this?
Yeah.
I know we should, but we just said that the secret was only revealed.
Well, it was only revealed to him, but now he's revealed it to others.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, here we go.
Because we're not receiving a revelation
Also,
of
this-
this stuff. We're reading a revelation that was received.
Sure, also this next verse. Therefore, write all these things that you have seen in a book. Oh, never mind, and put it in a hidden place. And you shall teach them to the wise among your people whose hearts you know are able to comprehend and keep these secrets.
So,
Very,
first of all,
it's a group. It's a club.
it's a cult. But first of all, occult means hidden. So this is occult knowledge that you're receiving here. But also, Ezra receives instructions to write down the revelation that he's received and to keep it in a safe hiding place. Only the wise can these revelations be disclosed to. The wise will be able to keep them for the right time. This device of calling the writings hidden is widespread in these apocalyptic writings. This hiddenness enhances the dignity of the book, but it also serves
That's why it has to be revealed because it's hidden.
It also serves to explain why this writing had not been widely known before. The reason it had not circulated before is that although the book was revealed back in the time of Ezra, some 5 centuries before the time of the writer of 4th Ezra, only now is it taken from hiding and shared with the faithful.
Yeah, that's good writing. That's good writing.
Yep. You know, there was this book that Jesus wrote, and I think it's time that I share it with you all.
Okay.
Wow.
Is it this one right here?
You know, it's called the Book of
The Kings
of Judah
Yeah.
and Israel
Yeah.
during the time of Jesus, part 2.
But wait, here 7 more days.
I was just going to be like, but wait, there's more.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was going for.
7 more days.
So that you may be shown whatever it pleases the Most High to show you. Then he left me. So he has to just wait 7 days for a possible revelation.
You can, God's flight of fancy. He might show you a thing he likes.
Yeah, I suppose. When all the people heard that the 7 days were past and I had not returned to the city, they all gathered together from the least to the greatest and came to me and spoke to me, saying, "How have we offended you? And what harm have we done you, that you have forsaken us and sit in this place?"
So for the expression of from the least to the greatest, see Genesis 19:11 and Jeremiah 6:13, common expression indicating the whole population, including children.
Oh, yeah, I guess they were there too. For all the prophets you alone are left to us, like a cluster of grapes from the vintage, and like a lamp in a dark place, and like a haven for a ship saved from a storm. So I like how, like, oh, hey, you were the grape the whole time.
Yeah. The real Sunday school was the friends we made along the way.
yeah, that kind of shit. Are not the evils which have befallen us sufficient? Therefore, if you forsake us, how much better it would have been for us if we also had been consumed in the burning of Zion. For we are no better than those who died there. And they wept with a loud voice.
They're so sad.
Then I answered them and said, take courage, O Israel, and do not be sorrowful, O house of Jacob, for the Most High has you in remembrance, and the Mighty One has not forgotten you in your struggle. As for me, I have neither forsaken you nor withdrawn from you, but I have come to this place to pray on account of the desolation of Zion, and to seek mercy on account of the humiliation of our sanctuary. Now go, every one of you to his house, and after these days I will come to you. So the people went into the city, as I told them to do. But I sat in the field 7 days, as the angel had commanded me. And I ate only of the flowers of the field, and my food was of plants during those days. Yes.
So the food being of plants, in the Apocryphal Lives of the Prophets 16, Daniel is said to have subsisted on a vegetarian diet. So, yes, that is the end of the readings that we have for you today. Lawrence,
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on what we have read today?
I think that trying to figure out exactly what those visions meant, like exactly what they would have aligned to, who possibly they would have aligned to, will be a very fun project one day.
Yes.
Right.
So next week we're finishing 2nd Esdras.
Uh,
Or 4th Ezra.
right. Or alternatively, I mean, I'll talk to you about this afterwards, but it is quite. I just looked at how long those chapters are, and I also considered how long this show has went today. So we could theoretically split it in two, but that's up to you.
We could, but that would mess up the timing for our reading of the editions of Daniel.
I
That's a
actually
good
think
point.
I agree with Ruben here. As unfortunate as it might be,
That's a good point,
we
though.
might have to do whatever marathon is necessary there.
Yeah, I feel like it
Yeah.
is going to have to be a marathon.
Plus, it's not significantly longer than some of our usual shows. I mean, usually,
it's an amount longer.
yeah, I mean, it's like 20 minutes long.
Lawrence is hungry.
I also am hungry.
Yeah, Lawrence, you would have been less bothered if you had eaten before.
That's probably true, yeah.
Yeah. So, long readings today. Interesting stuff on the eagles and the lion.
Yeah, and I'm glad we have extra commentaries
Yeah.
now. I mean, they weren't like the most helpful, but it's great to have.
Yeah, it is just a little bit more that helps us out.
Yeah.
And of course, that also contains stuff that we can read later on for what we don't have other materials for.
Yeah,
It's
right.
cumulative.
plus all this stuff will also be helpful on Sunday.
And on Sunday, we'll be able to read some stuff from the Septuagint.
Yeah. So we are, of course, still in Ezekiel. I have to find exactly where that is in here. Here it is. Okay.
There it is. So, hey, if you enjoyed the stream today, be sure to check out our spring, where you can get yourself a t-shirt, which Chris is going to pin now.
Because Chris loves pinning T-shirts.
I don't even know which one to pin anymore. Oh, we
Wait,
don't
what?
have anything.
That's
not right.
You
What?
can promote an item in the chat.
What? That's not right at all.
Top of your feed.
What
That's
happened?
what it'll look like.
That's really weird. Okay, I guess that's not popping up. I'm gonna.
Good.
For some reason, our spring is not connecting to. But you can check us out on Patreon.
Yeah.
And if you want to win a t-shirt, that's an option.
Hey, can you try a command real quick? Just like any command, because like if for some reason,
Nightbot has not been going off.
yeah. I mean, I know there hasn't been like a lot of people chatting or anything, but like I don't know. It's just if everything like weirdly disconnected from it, that would be really weird.
Yes, it would.
Okay, so Nightbot is
There it
there.
is.
Okay.
All right. So you can check us out on Patreon. If you want to be on the show once a month, that's $50 a month.
You also get other benefits. You get access to all the video scripts. You of course get entered in T-shirt giveaways. Which, by the way, we are giving away a T-shirt on Sunday,
Yes. So,
and we're gonna be here with Landon too. I think.
yeah, look forward to that. If Landon wins a shirt, again, then I'm sure.
Whatever happens, I guess.
Yep. Other than that, we also have an Amazon wish list where, I mean, we got these books from the wish list.
Yes.
So if you want to add stuff on, then you can add stuff on. It only makes the show longer and more content for
you want that.
Eventually, Atheist Sunday School and Friday Apocryphal Podcast will be 6-hour long shows.
And eventually, actually, they will be so long that once we end one of the shows, we have to start the next one.
Yeah.
No D&D?
Nothing. No sleep. No eating. Nothing.
We're just going to be reading these ancient texts.
Yep.
That's all we're going to be doing.
I mean, if
You're going to
Die.
yeah.
if we do get like 50 commentaries per book, probably just do one chapter per episode.
It'll get kind of crazy at some point.
Yeah.
Like when we were doing like 2 chapters earlier on, we also like didn't really have good commentary.
Right. Which, I mean, lucky that we only did 2 chapters earlier on because now we've covered more stuff.
Better. Yeah.
Much better. If you want us to redo the old episodes, tough luck.
Yeah. Good answer. good ending there.
Yeah.
Tough luck.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that.
Read it yourself.
Either way,
or pay us like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Okay, well, I don't know about hundreds of thousands.
I mean,
but
for $500,000, we'll redo our Genesis episodes.
Well, either way, thank you everyone for joining us. Wasn't a very active stream, but I think we had a lot of cool discussions. I think we learned a lot about
Apocalyptic imagery.
I love apocalyptic imagery. So there it is. We had a good amount of that.
Yes.
That was the majority of the conversation today. But either way.
Yeah, but we will see you
on
Sunday.
Sunday.